Hello, my name is Stephanie McGregor. I am a physiotherapist here in Vancouver at Myo Detox on Main Street. I am also a running coach with Mounts Marathon, and I am a runner myself. So I ran over 40 half marathons, a dozen marathons, ultra marathons, and everything in between. And I am also a mom. I have 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 9-month-old. So I am no stranger to adjusting a plan, things not going perfectly, and having to adjust as things go and kind of roll with the punches. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today, is a lot about injury prevention and how to manage the plan you're given when it doesn't necessarily go perfectly. When does it ever go perfectly? So I think the most important thing in following it perfectly for you is understanding the recipe that goes into making a plan, because obviously if you follow the plan to a T, then it's going to cover a lot of the things I'm going to talk about at the beginning. But if you don't and things go awry, then it's really important to understand what you're following or what you need to change. So 80% of people get hurt training because of training errors, and majority of those errors are doing too much, too fast, too soon. So too much usually refers to doing too much mileage week over week. A good rule of thumb that you want to make sure you're following when you're not following the plan perfectly is that you don't want to increase your mileage more than 10 to 20% week over week. So if you do 30K one week, the next week you don't want to increase more than going up to 36. The next part of the plan the next error that people make is doing too much of that mileage too fast. So too fast often refers to your easy runs. Easy runs should be done at a conversational pace. It is not a pace on your watch that is always the same. It changes day to day based on sleep and stress and life and sickness and everything in between. So making sure that your pace is a pace that you could talk like this at is what you're looking for. And it doesn't matter what the actual number is. And then the final thing is ramping all of that up too soon. So making jumps, going to the next week, going to the next mileage jump when you're not ready. Just because it's written in the plan, if your body is screaming at you no, then it doesn't mean you have to increase. Or maybe the increase is 10% instead of the 20% that's prescribed. Some things that your body might be screaming at you when it's saying no is that things that are often, we think of pain, but the other things might be that your sleep isn't going very well. You wake up and you're feeling more fatigued than you would have expected. Overall, you're feeling way more sore than you would have expected for what you've been doing. That's a sign that your body's not recovering fast enough. In terms of pain, those are the things that we typically think of when we think of that we're heading towards injury, and you're not wrong. Those are the signs that we need to pay attention to. Not all pain is bad. We are training, we are making our bodies work hard. So understanding the type of pain is also really important. Symptoms that we might want to pay more attention to are the pain that progressively worsens as you run. It doesn't warm up, it doesn't get better. Those are signs that we want to pull back, or we're not ready for the next jump of training. Pain that changes how you're running. So your form might change. You might hear your heaviness or a skip in your step that wasn't there before. And then a really concerning one that we want to watch out for too would be sharp pain or pinpoint pain and swelling. Those are things that we really want to kind of keep an eye on and make sure that we're addressing. when you address these things, a really important, obviously, person is someone like myself, a physio, a chiro, an RMT, but also important to reach out to somebody that understands what you're doing so that they can make the appropriate adjustment. A runner themselves or someone that treats a lot of runners is great. But I think the most important thing is don't panic, don't completely stop, address it, and the good thing to think about is what can we change. So things that you might be able to do early are things like paying attention to really specific things that might be aggravating your pain. So do you notice it gets worse on hills? Do you notice that it gets worse with speed? Those are things that are based on intensity of the training that are easy to adjust. Other things that you might be able to adjust are just taking a rest day, skipping a day and replacing it with cross training and see if that eases it. Are you able to do things like foam roll, stretch, strengthen? Those are things that you want to potentially test, especially if you can't get in to see somebody as quickly as you like. When I think of these things, the word I like to think of is control. So I like to ask people, do you feel like you have control over this symptom or pain that you're feeling? And it's when you lose control that we really want to take a step back and see somebody before you keep pressing ahead. If you have control, it means that you know how much mileage you can run. You know what you cut back on to take away the pain or manage the pain. You know what to replace the activity with that's causing that pain. So warming up, cooling down, stretching, rolling, all of those things are tools in a potential toolbox that you could utilize to adjust. And again, if you don't know what to do, that sometimes is a sign that things feel out of control, and it might not be as out of control as you think, and you don't need to panic, but having somebody that can take a look at them, that might be a good time to address it. And then finally, if you're getting close to race day and you're thinking things are coming up and you feel like you're losing hope in your body and your training and whether or not you can do this, that's where going again to see somebody is really important. And it can often be reassuring. There are lots of tools we can use potentially with your form that we can change to address how you might feel even as close to a couple of days before the race. So addressing things that might aggravate you. I'll use the example of running downhill. Often people feel like running downhill is super aggravating on their knees and their ankles or their lower back, and adjusting your form by getting your feet underneath you can be a really great tool we can utilize to make you feel significantly better on race day. So I think the most important thing I would say is if you don't have control and you don't know what's going on in your body, that's a really great time to see somebody. If it doesn't feel out of control, amazing. Congratulations, you've gotten this far, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to understand the plan, how to adjust, and what signs and symptoms to watch out for to make sure that you can get that control back and have a really successful race. So if you need anything, I am at Detox on Main Street, but I'll also be out there cheering you on the course. So congratulations to getting this far in your training, and I hope you have a great race day.